Mr. Meme says Uncle Grandpa best be the endgame final boss of Pibby. Yes, please. Uncle Grandpa might be the strongest Cartoon Network character. Learning with Pibby is now, extremely popular. This subversive Adult Swim short has now reached 3.6 million views. I've made 2 videos already to discuss this interesting series pitch. One video discussing my opinions and hopes for the series, and then one video running down every single reference and cameo I could find. I didn't expect this at all, but those analysis videos also got extremely popular. Thanks to those, my channel has grown faster than it ever has. I don't want to spend too much time talking about this, but I really do want to say thank you all so much for subscribing to my channel and checking out those videos. I've been a cartoon fan my whole life, and I have been making cartoon videos for this channel for the past 5 years. I had no idea that Pibby was going to be such a big thing. I just genuinely made a video about it because I thought it was so cool. And I'm really psyched to see that so many other people think it's awesome too. So thank you so much for checking out my channel. I hope you'll continue to watch my content, which is usually just me going crazy about stuff that I like and know too much about. Anyways, there's been an overwhelming number of comments on my Pibby videos, so I thought the best way to reply to them would be in a video. A lot of you guys pointed out your own theories, hopes for the series, or pointed out references that I missed. So let's see what you all said. I'll probably do multiple videos like this because there has been so many great comments. If I miss you, be sure to comment on this video too if you have anything interesting to share. It could be, what you want to see from the show or something you noticed about the trailer, really anything about it. And let me know if you like this format of video, and I'll do it for other topics in the future too. Now first up, we'll do comments on my review video. Sam Dietker talks about how they think it's interesting that the evil glitch in Pibby is powerful enough to defeat characters who wouldn't easily be defeated otherwise. I think the funniest point here is how Bugs Bunny usually has the power of cartoon logic on his side, but he somehow got corrupted. This led me to wondering about how the show would end up treating its cameo characters if it became a full series. Would we actually see characters like Bugs Bunny or Finn the Human trying to defend themselves? Or would all that happen off screen and we would just focus on Pibby and all the original characters here? The trailer does show us Fred Flintstone being taken over, but maybe that's more so just for comedy, in a frightening way. My guess honestly would be that the series would probably only focus on Pibby and the original characters, and any crossover stuff would mostly be used as background assets, but I don't want that to be the case. It would be really amazing to see these characters all trying to fight back and interacting and everything, and it would be especially interesting to see all the other worlds get taken over while Pibby isn't there. As morbid as that sounds. Especially Bugs Bunny, like I was just saying, because he's the kind of character who could literally do anything in his own universe. So how do you end up getting caught by this thing? Mr. Meme says Uncle Grandpa best be the endgame final boss of Pibby. Yes, please. Uncle Grandpa might be the strongest Cartoon Network character. I know saying something like that probably opens a whole can of worms, like you guys could share who you think is technically the strongest, but cartoon logic wise, Uncle Grandpa is probably the strongest. This is actually why I wore my Uncle Grandpa shirt in that video. Uncle Grandpa's the perfect example of insane cartoon logic to me, so I thought it would be relevant to wear that. Now here's a really cool theory about how the storyline of Pibby may take place in the future. The idea here is that TV programming is now controlled by AI, and the glitch we see is a virus taking over all the TV networks. That's a really awesome idea. It's really deep too. Some of you guys are really creative when you come up with theories like this for any shows. I do love this idea of AI taking over television. I just love sci-fi, evil AI focused stuff a lot. But also, this kind of a thing that could happen, or this is at least an idea that deserves some sort of commentary, right? Because it's already sort of real. Look at how YouTube recommendations work. There are millions of videos on YouTube, but it's only really easy for us to find the ones that YouTube mathematically considers good. An algorithm like that could be what's evil in the Pibby world. Compare my view counts on my Pibby videos to all my other videos. It's because YouTube mathematically figured that people want to see Pibby, so they pushed my Pibby content. That could sort of be what the villain's doing here, erasing shows that it thinks people don't want to see or something. This theory mentions that it could be a virus, but maybe it'd be interesting too if it were just a rogue program that's trying to delete things that aren't relevant. It is mostly deleting or corrupting older shows in this short. I think Craig of the Creek is the newest cartoon that we see cameo in Pibby, and then the rest are all older ones. Well, whatever the case, let's just hope that the villain isn't Algae Rhythm from Space Jam 2. Let's forget Space Jam 2 ever happened. Evan the Master Gamer says that Pibby reminds him of a Newgrounds animation, and I absolutely agree. It's sort of easy to get that vibe from a lot of what Adult Swim does, especially when it's a one-off short. I mean, they recently had something made by some popular Newgrounds people that I think got greenlit. I don't know, I didn't really look into that. but I know that that's something that people are big fans of, and it was also mentioned in a few other comments. The Newgrounds cartoons were a really big thing online when I was growing up, but many of them have the same sort of visual style and like subversive virality that Pibby has. You know, like they try really hard to have some sort of interesting hook to make them popular. And that's kind of just another reason why this little short became so massively popular. It is a very recent Newgrounds thing, so I don't really know that much about it outside of like what I learned from my brother and what I see on like TikTok and Twitter. But I think someone's making a Pibby inspired Friday Night Funkin' mod, and that's pretty awesome. That definitely seems like a perfect fit from all the other sort of creepy stuff I see from that game. Should I play that mod in a video if it ever gets finished? Liam White mentions how it may be hard to get the original voice actors for some of the crossover characters involved on this series since it's so violent and scary. But I don't really see that as a problem. I think most voice actors would happily reprise their roles no matter what the context is. I think the real problem would be if Cartoon Network even wants their characters to be seen in such a scary way. Like, think about Nintendo for example. They're notorious for being strict about their IP. Like, recent Mario games have been mostly incredibly wholesome. They want their characters to appear very clean in like a very specific way. It's kind of the same way Nickelodeon treats SpongeBob too. Like the recent Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl game, apparently Nickelodeon was pretty strict with what the devs were allowed to do. They had to oversee all the ways that they treated the characters, and they were very picky about what characters they allowed the devs to put into the game. Though they did at least allow the devs to come up with the character pitches, they didn't really force any characters to be in there. Or, you know, think about how Paper Mario doesn't have original characters anymore. It's all toads and stuff. That's like a big thing people complain about. And that's all deliberate so that they don't have to take risks with their IP. They want it all to be presented to people in a very uniform, iconic, and specific, clean way. So that could be the case for Pibby. But then again, it's also shocking that Pibby exists at all if that's a problem Cartoon Network could potentially have. But you know, it may be too shocking for them to go too far with how these characters are treated. Primarily the more recent ones, really. Like Fred Flintstone, he gets corrupted on screen. You can do whatever you want with him, and his show is old as heck. But you know, a kid searching up Adventure Time on YouTube only to find some scary scene from Pibby and being scarred for life, that might be something Cartoon Network wants to avoid. That's something that a lot of Nickelodeon shows have like supposedly been canceled for, but I don't know if that's really something that happens anymore, especially if this is a show made by Adult Swim. Adult Swim is pretty ballsy, so like if Pibby comes out and then parents complain about it being subversive, I think Adult Swim would just like make fun of those people, and that wouldn't actually be any sort of problem. But I don't know, maybe Cartoon Network wants to avoid the violence here. But then again, you know, complaints are probably already happening because the trailer even exists at all, so I have no idea. We'll have to wait and see. Now on to my video about all the references. Many people are pointing out that the forest area in the scene with George Jetson may be from Over the Garden Wall. It's possible, but I personally don't think so. It looks too lush and green. Garden Wall takes place in a withering autumn forest. This scene is definitely more of like a typical forest or possibly even a jungle of some sort. I think if Garden Wall was going to be included in Pibby, they would have shown a corrupted character instead. You know, Over the Garden Wall is a really short series. I don't even think it's ever been reran on Cartoon Network, but it's a very iconic one, so I think people would more so recognize characters from it. Also, I may or may not be working on a review for Over the Garden Wall, so stay tuned for that. One person mentions that this foresty background could be from Johnny Quest, and I think that's much more likely. I don't know anything about this series. It's a very, very old one. It's from the 60s, just like the Flintstones. But it looks like it's an adventure series that has a lot of scenes with jungle settings, just like we see here. The painting style looks similar too. This comment also mentions Secret Saturdays. That's a good assumption too, but that may be too much of a deep cut. And the art style is slightly different on Secret Saturdays. Some people are also saying this background might be from Craig of the Creek or Pokemon. And that's definitely possible, but I don't quite think this is Craig of the Creek. I haven't watched much of that show, but just looking it up, it doesn't look like the backgrounds have the sort of painterly style that this background has. And Pokemon is possible too, but I mean, if they were going to reference Pokemon, they would have gone and like made a fake Pikachu or something instead, not just use a forest background. Considering the amount of old school references in Pibby, I think Johnny Quest is most likely the source. What do you all think? Many of you mentioned that the amusement park setting from Scooby-Doo also appears in one of the movies, Scooby-Doo and the Cyber Chase. And yeah, you're all absolutely correct. I haven't seen much Scooby-Doo, so I didn't know this. Thanks for bringing this up. I have definitely seen the virus character from this movie before though. It's a pretty iconic design. But yeah, I guess this setting is in the movie to reference that Foul Play in Funland episode. Some of you also mentioned that the Funland setting appears in LEGO Dimensions. And that game itself is a massive crossover with different TV shows, movies, and games. And only one comment I saw points out that Funland was the first Scooby-Doo episode ever to have a real monster. not just some human culprit in a mask. That's some very interesting trivia. That must be why it's such an iconic Scooby-Doo episode. Then we have many comments hoping for different shows to appear. And like I said in my video, it's impossible to know what they'll cross over with. The floodgates are open, especially considering we have Disney and Nickelodeon already in the short. It's really exciting. Amelia here is hoping for South Park to show up in some way. That show is so popular, so I can definitely see that happening. I'm specifically pointing this one out though, just to mention the fact that Arthur had a South Park reference at one point, where they replicated South Park's art style. I just wanted to bring this up because I think it's really funny that a show meant for young kids had a reference like that. I don't know how many people know about it.
Ow! Hey, you squished Buster!
But also, I think the Pibby cast would look really cute with the South Park style. One last comment for now, or rather, one last set of comments. A ton of you guys think the gun that Pibby has in this scene is a reference to Gravity Falls. I definitely see where you're coming from with that. The guns look super similar. Though, admittedly, this kind of seems like an obscure thing to pull from Gravity Falls. So I personally don't think that's what's being referenced. It's probably something else, but it could be, like I said for Over the Garden Wall, if Pibby was going to reference such a recent and iconic series like Gravity Falls, I think they would do it in a way that was more eye-catching. This is too much of a deep cut, but you know what? Let's just say that this is Ford's Quantum Destabilizer, because Gravity Falls deserves to be represented in this series. Gravity Falls is one of my favorite shows. You know what, why don't we say that Giffany is the glitch and she's taking over every show to make them all fall in love with her. There you go, that's my theory because that's my favorite episode. And I'll end things there for now. I unfortunately don't have that much time to work on YouTube this week, but I really wish I did because you guys have been blowing up my notifications with all your awesome theories, trivia, and hopes for the Pibby series. It is amazing that such a short piece of animation could create this much hype and conversation. Right now, it's looking like Pibby has a really bright future, you know, aside from the whole everyone dying and Pibby getting injured thing and stuff. Let me know if you enjoyed this style of video. You know, maybe we'll do even more if you guys enjoy this. I will absolutely make at least one more comment discussion video, since you guys have seriously been saying so much cool stuff. Be sure to send in your comments. And then if you guys continue to be hyped about Pibby videos, then I can make even more comment discussion videos, or theory videos even. So turn on notifications to know when I post a new video, and be sure to leave some comments here if you want me to read them. I'll continue to make videos about Pibby whenever there's major news for it, but I'll also continue sharing my love for other cartoons as well. So I hope you all continue to check out my channel. Thanks for watching! Please leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon to know when I post new videos. Thanks for watching, and super special thanks to my Patreon supporters. Support me on Patreon and you'll be able to submit video topics, see exclusive behind the scenes content, and help me keep this channel going. Also follow me on Twitter and TikTok for special updates.